What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Perspective Chasers podcast, and I'm your host, John. On today's episode, it's going to be a bit of a different one. I want to talk about what's going on in the world, and I'm going to skip the behind the scenes kind of stuff this week. I've been looking at the engagement and it don't seem to be doing that well, so it's getting the cut for now. So let's get into the main bulk of the episode of what's going on in the world. Where to start with this? As I said before, I tend to live in my bubble, and I think we all do very much so in life. There's so much that you're kept busy with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's just trying to be keeping your own life on track or pursuing your own life and your dreams and passions, or just trying to survive in general. But everywhere in the world, it seems like the world's gone insane. And I don't know if it's just me, but I really don't think it is. And sitting there thinking about concepts for ideas and everything else, I can't be the only one thinking that the world's gone insane. And it's not that hard for people to live a decent, happy life. For most part, everybody can coexist and be happy. Don't get me wrong, there are some extremes of people that are not fit for society, and I don't want to get into that, but they exist and we can't deny them. But overall, no matter what area of life you look at the minute, whether it be personal, financial, the bigger scale of global economics, but no matter what aspect of life you look at, there is some kind of mayhem at the minute. And for the most part, I like to keep out of the news. I like to stay away from all the politics and all of the drama because, quite frankly, to me, it's all nonsense anyway. But there comes a time where you cannot be ignorant anymore. And I think that time has passed. Not just for me, but for so many people. There is so much going on in the world that it's time to drop the distractions. It's time to pull your focus and actually see what is going on in the world. Far beyond our own lives, far beyond our own towns, cities, countries. There is so much in the world that needs correcting. And it is possible to do it. I believe it is. But so many people need to wake up. So many people need to realize what is going on and stop thinking that they cannot have an impact. The power of one person may not seem much at the beginning. But that one person can knock down a domino effect that can topple mountains. You just have to have a bit of faith in yourself. If you never start, if you never try to make that difference, no difference will ever be made. I'm not saying each and every one of us are going to fix the world and change it overnight. But if each and every one of us start to take action, there's a chance that things can improve far more than there is a chance at the minute. I think it's almost glorified, the negativity that is put out in the world at the minute, not just in media, in social media, in music, in film, in all of these industries. It is a massive facade of distraction. And what they perpetuate tends to be a lot of negative stuff, or a lot of the negative stuff is what is pushed to the front of your view. I'm somebody that believes that there's good and bad all throughout life. You will never know one without the other. But there is an imbalance right now, or at least it feels like there's an imbalance for a lot of people. There is so much negativity in the world right now that there needs to be people that stand up and put the positivity back in the world. Not just by the small actions or the big actions, but across the board in their day-to-day life, in how they treat one another, not just what they portray to the world, not just like, for me sitting here on this podcast, there are times where I try to advise people or try to share my experience in order to share insight. But that's not enough just doing that on the podcast. If I'm not a nice person outside of that, I'm not doing anywhere near enough, or I'm probably more or less negating my own effect even beyond that. So unless you snowball this, unless you take multiple actions and build this up to the point where the interactions that you have, you leave a situation better than you found it. When you meet somebody, they're happier in their day for seeing you than not seeing you. When you go to do a job, you do it better than it was when it was done before. Where no matter what you do, you try to lead by example and set the precedent for the future. Instead of trying to take the shortcuts or giving into the easy ways, giving into the negativity. There's going to be negativity all throughout life. And again, I'm going to use that as a very broad term because there is so much negativity in life. But there's also a hell of a lot of positivity. There's just an imbalance right now, at least an imbalance of focus for a lot of people. There might be a picturesque part of this world that is idyllic civilization. But I don't think it's what a lot of us are living in. A lot of people are unhappy, a lot of people are struggling, and a lot of people are looking for a way out or a way to get through it. And there needs to be people taking action to lead people to making better decisions and showing them that the easy way, although it may be quicker, although it is literally the easier way, it's not the best way to go. It's not the easiest, it may be the easiest way to go, but it's not the right way to go. It's not the moral thing to do. Again, it's easy to build yourself up off of tearing people down. But how about building yourself up off your own merits? That's kind of the reason why I never name drop or I don't try to use clickbaity titles, because I believe in that honesty. I don't believe in tearing people down. There is a lot going on in the world and a lot of negative things getting said in it. It'd be very easy to make a podcast around these things specifically and try to build myself up off of tearing other people down or criticizing other people. But personally, I don't feel that's morally right. I would rather find like-minded people and build a community of like-minded people that pursue making the world a better place than trying to tear down people. And there are people that will need to be taken out of social media or what's the word? Moderated in some sense. But it's something that needs to be learned over time and actually pursued. Unfortunately, I don't think we live in a world where everybody can have full free reign. There are some people that will always take liberties. There are some people that will always take the wrong way, even if the right way is before them, or they know it's there, there's always going to be those people that think differently, and they love the mayhem. But for the most part, that's not the majority of civilization or modern civilization. From what I see anyway, most people want to live simple, happy lives. And there are people that don't want to live happy lives. Not don't want to live happy lives, but their happiness comes at the expense of others. And it doesn't have to be that way. But in order to fix that imbalance, there has to be a hell of a shift in the world. And that's not going to be comfortable for a lot of people. But that change has to happen. The negativity that is pushed through the world, people will not stand for. There will come a time where it has to at least be balanced. There will come a time where people's level of discomfort far outweighs the comfort of staying quiet or keeping their opinions and their thoughts to themselves. Eventually, people will have enough and push back. And this isn't to say that that has to be an aggressive or a negative thing. It's about pursuing a happy, healthy life for everyone, which is possible. But for that to be possible, we have to address a lot of wrongdoings in the world, and a lot of the wrongdoings revolve around greed or misuse of power. And I think what the world truly needs is somebody that, how to articulate this? Somebody that leads by example, although they had every temptation not to. That level of person that has, I'm going to really struggle for words here, the conviction of self to stay the path despite everything else. Because just like the musician that recently came out of, I mean, I'm contradicting myself here referencing somebody, but the musician, I forget his name, but that came out, and he's had massive success over the past few weeks or months. I'm not too sure on the exact time frame, but he's going to have so much thrown at him in order to veer him off his path. For him to stay on it and to be a beacon of hope for a lot of people, whether they be religious or not, to show that success doesn't have to contaminate. And I'm sure there are many other people that could be examples, but quite frankly, they're not perpetuated enough, or they're not perpetuated in my reality. And I think this is the important thing, is that every time there is something negative in the world, it is heavily perpetuated. And as much as we do need to know about that, we also need to know that there is good in the world, and the good exists, and there are people doing these good things. And unfortunately, bad news spreads like wildfire. So it's normally what is used to push profits and build out all of these ventures. But that's the easy road. That's not what's needed. People need to know there's good in the world so they can have a little bit of hope for life and know what to do and why to do it. Like, why, if the world's all going to chaos, what's the point in doing the mundane 9 to 5? What's people's purpose anymore? If everything's going to chaos and nothing matters, then nothing matters. So why continue? So I think it's incredibly important to have that reason of, this is why we do it. We do it for each other, because each other Each person needs to live a happy life. They deserve to live a content and happy life. I don't think anyone's purpose in life is to cause harm to another. Like, that would be a very... I'm really struggling with my words today. I'm sorry about that. It's been a long day. It would be a very sad existence, for lack of better words at the minute, if all somebody was here to do is to cause suffering to somebody else. In my opinion, anyway. I think there is a lot of bad that has come before us, but it doesn't have to come after us. We can change the tides. We just have to be the ones that stop it. And that won't be easy, but it doesn't have to mean it's impossible. If everybody bands together for a greater cause that's bigger than themselves, then it can be achieved, and we can achieve a world to be proud of. Not just a city, a town, a state, a country, but a world, a civilization to be proud of. To be able to say that I'm happy to be human, or I'm happy to be alive in this time. For everybody to be able to say that would be an absolutely powerful thing. And I'm going to leave the episode there on that one. Because like I said, it's been a very long day and I'm struggling to get my thoughts together. But the seed for this episode is try to not only look for the positivity in life, but try to put out some of your own as well. Try to brighten somebody's day or make the world a little bit of a better place in one way or another. Because it is possible, but we each have to try, because it is all of our world at the end of the day. All the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.